Okay, hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Menopause Matters Live. And today we are talking about why HRT on its own isn't the answer. Now, first of all, I want to talk about HRT being hormone replacement therapy, and the fact that it can be a very useful tool. Of course, it has lots of pros, but it's not a cure-all solution for everybody for menopause symptoms. And I'm going to explain why. The real key is combining HRT, if that's your choice, because not everybody, remember, can have HRT or wants to use HRT. And there are alternatives. You don't have to. It's not an absolute, there's some TV doctors, for example, who are trying to say that every woman should be given HRT as soon as they go into perimenopause. I absolutely, categorically do not agree with that. But if you are using HRT, if you're finding it helpful, perhaps it's resolved some symptoms like hot flashes or night sweats or something else, then it can absolutely be very helpful. But it doesn't usually resolve all symptoms. And that's why we need to combine HRT, if we're using it, with other healthy lifestyle options and choices, not just with our diet, although our diet is really important, but through other forms of good nutrition and self-care and so on. So how does HRT work? HRT, depending on which type you have, works in different ways. If you are using body identical, which is what I tend to encourage people to ask for when they speak to their GP. And now these days, I think there's a lot more awareness about the difference between synthetic and body identical HRT. Let's not forget though, body identical, whilst the chemical structure is the same as our own native produced hormones, they're not produced by us. It is made in a lab. It is a pharmaceutical drug still. We are not rubbing yams, because that's what they're made from, most of them. We're not rubbing yams on our skin. It goes through a pharmaceutical process to create a gel or a spray or a tablet or whatever it is that you're taking. And that is a drug. It's a medication. It's not a natural substance. So I think we've got to be really clear about that. However, body identical HRT works more harmoniously with our body. Our body recognizes the chemicals in that much better than synthetics, and the outcomes tend to be much better. If you don't know whether you're on body identical or not, just do a search online and find out. And if you're not, you are within your rights to go to speak to your GP and ask to switch if you're not happy with what you're using. HRT tends to be really helpful for things like, as I said, hot flashes. It can really improve the recurrence, the number of hot flashes you get, the severity of them. For some people, it completely knocks them on the head. Not everybody. Some people, it just improves them. It can help with moods. It can help with mood swings, can certainly help with sleep, especially the progesterone part of HRT. And that can, sleep disturbances are very common when we start to lose progesterone, but perhaps estrogen hasn't caught up. Sleep can be really affected. But let's not forget, sleep is affected by lots of things, not just by loss of hormones. So, just thinking that you're going to take HRT or use progesterone and your sleep is absolutely 100% going to be resolved, it's not always the case. HRT can be very, very helpful in certain circumstances. And when you are dealing with severe symptoms as a period to help you get through that period, that can also be really helpful. But what we've got to remember is HRT doesn't solve the issues, the underlying issues. It's not getting to the root cause of why your hormones are doing what they're doing. There is always something going on in your body which is doing that. And that's why it's really important to address the other areas of our health and not just think, oh, I've got issues with, with these symptoms. I'm at that age. I'm in perimenopause. HRT is the whole answer. Because it isn't, not on its own. We have to do the other things alongside if we want to give ourselves the best chance of having a healthy, as much as possible, symptom-free perimenopause and postmenopause. But also, we've got to think about our longevity. We've got to think about the years afterwards. Once we've hit menopause, there is a period of adjustment as our body adjusts and our brains adjust to having this new normal, which is much less hormones, sex hormones. And I'm talking about sex hormones. Obviously, there are many other hormones in the body that are implicated in lots of different body processes. We're talking about sex hormones. And, the body, it's a natural process. Menopause is a natural process. I do not buy into the narrative that we are living so many more years that's why we are having all these problems. You look back in history, maybe the life expectancy was shorter, but there were women living longer and not experiencing what we experience now necessarily. And I think that the world that we live in, the toxic environment that we live in, the stress that we're under, the food, the depleted foods that we have, the diets that we eat, there's so many things that are affecting us. Our livers are congested. They're not, we're bombarded by toxins. All of that has got to play a part. And so we have to look at our diet, we have to look at our nutrition, we have to look at our movement and how we're moving our bodies. We have to think about all of our unhealthy habits, how much sleep we're getting, are we getting daylight in our eyes first thing in the morning, all these things. And then we've got to look at stress. And I cannot tell you how important it is to deal with stress. If you don't deal with stress, you are going to have symptoms of some sort because the impact of stress on our body is so significant. And what I see is that women who come into the perimenopause with already a stressed body and a depleted body and a body that is not ready for menopause are the ones that suffer the most. And the ones that are perhaps not in that situation are the ones that sail through it a lot more easily. So if you're wondering why your friend doesn't get all the symptoms that you get, look at that. Look at how, their life, their lifestyle, how they look after themselves, etc. Now, that's not to say that people who look after themselves aren't going to have symptoms, because there's a whole host of things to consider. Were you on the pill for years? That has a profound impact on the type of perimenopause and menopause you have, for example. Somebody's commented, 100%, agree 100%. I see this in the majority of my massage clients. Yeah, there is no one answer, absolutely. But she's talking about frozen shoulder, plantar fasciitis, and all the joint pains. It's not just about perimenopause and menopause. There's so much more to it. Now, let's talk about the things that we need to think about when we are going through this transition. So I'm talking about what else can we be doing? We have to think about the foundations of menopause health. We have to think about our diet. Is it high in sugar? Do you actually know if it's high in sugar? I'm so surprised by how many people still don't understand what sugar is to the body. Just because you don't eat packets of jelly tots and bags of crisps every day doesn't mean that you are not eating foods that to the body are sugar. They turn to glucose very, very quickly. That's what I'm talking about. So are you eating lots of oats, like porridge and overnight oats and things like that for breakfast? Are you eating lots of bread? Are you eating lots of pasta? Are you eating enough protein to balance out the carbs that you're having? Now, don't get me wrong, I am absolutely not anti-carb. I think carbs are really important for women going through this phase. I don't agree with keto and so on for the majority of women at this stage of life, because I don't think they do well on it. But most women are not eating enough protein. They're eating too much refined carbohydrates. They might not be eating the chocolates, but the body doesn't differentiate that much between them. Things turn into sugar in the blood, whether they're, proper sweet sugar or refined carbohydrates. Processed foods, how much of your food do you make from scratch and how much is ready-made? Are you looking at the ingredients? Do you know how many seed oils are in most packaged foods? What are seed oils? Sunflower oil, rapeseed oil. They call it canola oil in the US. These seeds are highly, highly inflammatory. And I read something yesterday that the half-life of seed oils is, I can't remember how many days, it's like months. That's the half-life. That means how long it takes for it to leave the body completely. It's astonishing. And these foods have seed oils, etc., have a big impact on our body. Are our foods high in nutrients? Are we eating organic foods? I know they're more expensive. It annoys the hell out of me, the fact that you have to pay more for food that's not contaminated with shit, but that's how it is. Are you doing that? Are you looking at the lists, the clean 15, the dirty dozen, to see which ones are more sprayed and which ones are less, and then choosing those ones that are less sprayed for the non-organic, and then choosing the organic for the ones that are really heavily sprayed. Really good tip. Keeps the cost down. That's what I do. It's really important to eat nutrient-dense foods, lots of protein, lots of produce. If we're not doing that, we're not giving our body the basics. Are you drinking enough water? We know it. We know we should be having around about 2 litres a day. There's calculations you can do online if you want to find out what you should drink for your body weight. But a very simple one is aim for 2 litres and you're not going to be far off. Are you doing that? And is your water filtered? Or are you drinking water that is from the tap? Because let me tell you, if you're drinking tap water, you will not believe what disgusting things you are drinking. And a Brita filter isn't enough. You've got to use a decent filter that takes, majority of things out, all the metals, all the contaminants, chlorine, fluoride, etc. And then there's movement. What are you doing to move your body every day? And that doesn't mean thrashing yourself at the gym on a running machine or doing high impact cardio classes. That actually, for most women, is not the answer. But are you lifting weights? Are you using your body weight? Are you doing things to strengthen your core? Are you doing Pilates or yoga? How much are you walking? Are you walking at least 10,000 steps a day? If not, why not? This is a simple, easy to do exercise, makes a massive difference to our health. And yet a lot of people aren't getting even 5,000 steps a day. It's just so important. HRT can't make up for a sedentary lifestyle. It can't, we know that menopause makes us more prone to osteoporosis. But what are we doing about that? The things that we need to be doing are, HRT is one aspect, but are you actually using your body weight, or are you using weights to really improve that as well, and make sure that you kind of keep things strong? And then going back to the nutrients, if you've been following me for a while, I bang on about minerals, vitamins as well. But you've got to know which ones you need. And that's why I run testing with all my clients, because if you don't know what you need, you can be causing even more imbalances. The amount of women I see chugging large amounts of vitamin D because they've been told that they're low in vitamin D. Well, let me tell you, the vitamin D level that the GPs are using now in the NHS were arbitrary numbers, which were inflated with no science behind it. A few years back. Before that, the recommended level was much lower. Now, some women do need vitamin D for sure, but my preference is always to get it from natural sources, because what comes through the skin is much more easily synthesized than it is going through our digestive tract. We naturally should be taking vitamin D, which is actually a hormone rather than a vitamin, through the skin. But of course, not everyone can. We live in the UK. I mean, you know, let's face it, what sun we're allowed to have is limited anyway. But we do need to think about, you know, making sure that we're getting enough vitamin D. But anybody who says you should be chugging 3, 5,000, 10,000 international units of vitamin D a day, and you know, if you're somebody who's struggling with your weight, struggling with energy, struggling with a slow down metabolism, I can tell you that is causing you problems. And I see it on a test because I see the results of it. Vitamin D increases the calcium retention in the body and not in the bones and teeth. That's a whole different topic. I must do a live on vitamin D. Maybe I'll do that next week if that would be interesting. Mental health and stress management. How are you dealing with your stress? What are you doing to not just do the meditation and the deep breathing, etc., but what are you doing to actually mitigate the stress, to reduce the stress? And I'm not just talking about mental and emotional stress. I'm talking about physical stress on your body as well. The things that you're putting on your body. What are you putting on your skin? What are you washing your hair in? What are you breathing? Have you got you know, what they called plug-in smelly things? I can't remember what they're called, air fresheners. Have you got those going? Those are toxic as hell. You know, what are you doing? Because all of this is stress to the body, but also our mental and emotional stress. What are we doing to deal with it? Are we just going, well, this is my life and I have to put up with it and I can't do anything about it? Because I can tell you, I can always find ways that you can change things. When I, you know, if I coach you, I can find ways to help you to do that. So what are you doing? And what about your sleep? How much sleep are you getting? What time are you going to bed? Are you going to bed at 11 and missing your sleep window? Are you getting up at the same time every day and getting daylight onto your eyes first thing? Or are you going to bed at 11, you know, or midnight and having like 5, 6 hours sleep, broken sleep, and then trying to get through the day? Because that's stress on the body. We have to look at lifestyle and what we're doing outside of using things like HRT. HRT is a tool to get us through. Some people, there are, you know, there's mixed evidence about whether it's useful for its use. Sorry, the doorbell's going. I think it's the postman, and then now the dog's barking. There's mixed research on the effects of using HRT very long term for the rest of your life. I'm not going to go into that today, but what else are you doing? Are you just relying on that and thinking that that's going to be it and that's all you need to do, or are you doing the other stuff? Okay, so I am going to leave it there. I'm going to wrap up now. The dog is going to start. And I just want to mention that my program, the 6-month, my 6-month program, Revitalize Your Menopause, is now open for enrollment with a reduced price up until next Thursday, the 26th of September. If you missed my masterclass, Fix Fatigue Fast, Your Roadmap to Unlimited Energy and Maximum Motivation last night, you can still get the recording. Drop me a DM and I will send it to you. If you are interested in finding out more about the program, let me know in the comments or DM me and I will send you the link to the program. It's discounted up until next Thursday, yeah, 26th. It is my program where I designed it to help women to get through this period and to reset their bodies. It's called Revitalize because it's revitalizing your body, not just for now to deal with the symptoms that you're dealing with, but also for the future, because everything you're going to learn in that program, you're going to take forward into the future, and the impact on your health is massive. You know, clients like my client Marianne, who was falling asleep at the wheel, literally struggling to stay awake on her drive home from work every day, and been to the numerous doctors and specialists. She's in the US. She'd been to lots of different consultants. Nobody could give her any answers. And within a couple of months, we had knocked that on the head. She sleeps better. She's got her energy back, and she's not doing that, which is scary. Having done it myself, been through it myself, I know what it feels like to be fighting to stay awake at the wheel. So if you are interested in that, you can book a free exploratory call. We always do that to see whether it's the right thing for you. and have a chat about it, because I like to make sure that, of course, it's the right fit before anybody does that. So yeah, any questions, let me know. If there's any questions or comments that I've missed, I will answer them afterwards. All right, I've got to jump on my weekly group coaching call for my ladies in the Revitalised method. So I will leave it there. Take care. Bye for now.